If you're looking for peace of mind financially in 2025, then you need to set up a financial safety net. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is and how you can set up one for yourself. Welcome to the Wealth Twins Show. So, Nicole, set it off. Tell them what they need to know.
Well, before I tell anybody what they need to know, I need to talk about that shirt you got on today.
Wow, really? Okay.
I mean, it caught me off guard, but I guess you got your own sense of style, I guess.
Listen, you have to be a confident woman to wear a shirt like this, and I'm rocking it. So, anyway,
I guess you gotta be.
tell the
Anyway,
people what a
so
financial safety net is, Nicole.
all right, I will tell what a financial safety net is. A financial safety net is when you have your finances in order in such a way that you can withstand different life events or just things that you're not just planning to happen, right? It's something that can take care of you when unexpected things happen. That's the way I would explain what a financial safety net is. And it's very important because you want to have peace of mind because life is just unpredictable. So anything that we can control when times are good, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think when I think about a financial safety net, I think of what safety measures I can put in place, not only for a long period of time, but what is a short term, what is a medium term, and what is a long term, right? Because when I think financial safety, I think, how can I cover myself at all times? And I think when most people think about a financial safety net, they're thinking more like, how can I secure my financial future, like in retirement wise and things like that. But I think if you don't set yourself
I
up,
would actually say that's not what most people think. I think
you
most
know
people
what?
think a financial
I,
safety net is a credit card.
I,
Okay. And that's
ooh,
exactly not what it is.
true. I think a credit card is more like a financial weight. It's not a safety net, but you're right. A lot of people will use a credit card as a financial safety net. So
Mhm.
if I'm thinking about setting up a financial safety net, if I'm looking at the short term, one of the financial safety nets that people would use, it's called an emergency fund. Now, I know this is something that's a given. You should have an emergency fund that has at least 3 to 6 months of savings in it. That is a safety net for you. But if you can't do that, you have to work yourself up. Once you have a safety net of 3 to 6 months set up for an emergency fund, the next step is to start saving up more money in order to start giving you more room to breathe in a medium term. And when I say medium term, I think anywhere between a year and 5 years. That's not an emergency fund. These are different steps you need to take in order to create a safety net that's going to have you prepared for anything that's uncertain that's going to come up within that period of time.
Well, I think first we need to explain why we believe you need a financial safety net. And I think it's based on we've had different life experiences, and as
Yep.
the older you get, you're going to experience more things in life that makes you think a little bit further ahead than someone maybe at a younger age.
I agree.
And when I'm thinking as someone in their 40s, what a financial safety net to me means is like you have to have an emergency fund. That's a given, right? But we have to start talking about not just medium range, maybe 5 years out, but we also have to start thinking about retirement because a lot of times it starts hitting you, right? Like when you're in your 40s, you start thinking about retirement a lot. And because of that, you have to start adding that into what can be your financial safety net. So we're talking about maybe 20, 30 years down the line. But the reason why I think got me started thinking about financial safety nets in this way and really started leading me down the path of using financial safety nets was because of our work experience, working in finance, right? We were both working at Goldman Sachs at one point, and we were there during the dot-com era and also there doing, we were on Wall Street during the Great Recession. Those
Yes.
two things, these life events or these unexpected events really push the fact home that we were okay, but did we really have a financial safety net? And if something like that happened again, would we be okay? And
Yeah.
I
And
remember,
I will tell people, if you think the financial markets are volatile, try working in an investment bank. You see volatility up close, okay?
big
So
time.
anybody working in financial services or anything like that should make sure they have something that would cover them because it's so volatile.
Really, because they try to be ahead of the curve. So the layoffs happen there before it starts happening in other parts of the economy,
Exactly.
right? Because they try to be ahead of the curve. And I remember doing the dot-com, and there were two people that were working near me, and they really highlighted the fact that a person who has a financial safety net versus a person who does not. both of them, Pearl and this other person, and if you've seen these this episodes that we put out on a weekly basis, that I've spoken about Pearl before. Pearl was one of the older coworkers that I had at my job, and she's one of the people that gave me my first piece of money advice. And during the .com bust, Pearl was asking to be laid off while they were laying off other people. And Pearl's job wasn't in jeopardy at the time, but she was asking to be laid off. And it was someone who had gotten laid off, and that person, I believe, wasn't financially prepared and did not have a financial safety net. And the reason I say that is because after he got laid off and they gave him his boxes to walk him out the door, he came back the next day. And that showed to me, wow, you could be working at the same place, making the same type of money, but if you don't take care of the money that you're making and make a plan for that money, you can be in a very different situation when that access to income, that job that you had that you thought was stable is no longer stable and that money's not coming in. You can find yourself in a terrible situation. So just seeing that as an experience that I lived made me think I need a financial safety net. And I also needed to think and learn more about what Pearl was doing.
Well, I have so many questions, but one question was, did they make cuts to the security in your building that day? Because there's no way he was supposed to be able to get back upstairs. But
Yeah, the problem is that I've been in two places. Like I said, 2001 or so, I guess, was the .com bust, and also during the recession, 2007, 2008, they were letting people go again at another company I was in. And guess what? A person that they let go actually came back the next day as well. And I was making a joke with my manager at the time. I said, "You let that person go. If that person comes back tomorrow, because I'm not sure they're going to accept the news, I'm walking right out the office." And as soon as I said that, that person has showed up. So I don't know if it's a security problem everywhere or maybe, like I said, people not having a financial safety net. Either
true.
way, I have experienced enough to see that a financial safety net will stop you from doing something like that because it's out of desperation.
Now, if I were going to set up a financial safety net, now, like you said before, people don't think about retirement as setting it up for a safety net for that. But I think more people should wrap their head around it, because if you look at the changes this new administration that's coming in is thinking about doing, especially with the DOGE department, the Department of Government Efficiency, they're making huge cuts, or they're proposing huge cuts to social services like Social Security, to Medicare, and stuff like that. So if you're thinking that is your safety net as you get older because you've been putting money into these programs as a working person, I think you're going to be have a rude awakening if that is something that you are planning on, right? We can't think about those services as a financial safety net as they once were for other generations, because they may not be there. And if they are there, it may take you longer and actually be able to reap any of the benefits of the money that you put into those programs, because they're extending the time that it will take in order for you to even get the money from that program. My thing is this: if you're setting up a financial safety plan, one of the things you have to do is start taking financial accountability for yourself. Now, if you know that you're currently in debt, you have to start making plans in order to build yourself out of that debt, because that is one of the quickest ways for you to destroy any kind of building of a financial safety net, because you're constantly digging yourself out of a hole. So, one of the things you need to do in order for starting a financial safety net is to get your finances in order. That could be budgeting for some people. That could be paying down debt for some people. That can be starting investing for some others also, depending on where you are financially at this point.
I mean, if you're going there, I think what would be helpful for people would be to give a step by step kind of like framework of what to do in order to create a financial safety net. And the first thing you said was you need to look at where you are right now. So that's basically like stepping on your financial scale, right?
Yep.
See where you are. What is your net worth? What's that means? Where you got, what do you have in terms of assets? What do you have in terms of liabilities, right?
Yep.
What do you have, if you want to make it even simpler? What I'm saying is, what do you have that can be turned into quick money or that brings you in money versus things that are bills in your hand and taking money out of your pocket? That's the first thing you need to know. Because from there, you can then say, okay, how safe am I? And what do I need to focus on from there? Then from there, I think if we go back to talking about what Nadia was talking about, the short term, the medium term, and the long term, right? So, Nadia, if you can explain a little bit more of what you meant by short term, medium term, long term. I know short term, you were talking more about having an emergency fund 3 to 6 months. I think that needs to be adaptable depending on what type of how many people you're taking care of in terms of your family unit, and also what type of job or career you're in, how difficult it is or how easy it is to get another position if something was to happen. So that you would put like an emergency fund. And if you have an emergency fund, you should be looking to put that money in somewhere that's safe and is also able to give you a little bit high interest. So I think if someone's using an emergency fund, which everyone should have, it should be going into a high yield savings account. So I guess I just answered the short term part of that. But Nadia, could you talk more about the medium term in terms of having a financial safety net?
Well, when I think about medium term when it comes to financial safety net, say short term, maybe you lose your job, you need something to be able to hold you over until you find a next job, right? When I think medium term, it's like, how can I set myself up so that I'm not living paycheck to paycheck? And how can, if I have a health emergency or if something comes up, I have to take care of a family member or something, I'm not going to put myself in financial straits, right? So when I think medium term is, what can I do now to make sure I'm stable for the next 5 years? When I think about that, I think about the bases are covered. My my debt management is under control. And now I can start putting money away to possibly start putting money towards a down payment of a house or putting money towards anything that I know is going to come up and I'm going to need this money for. So that I know that I'm covered. Like I don't have to go borrowing that money. I don't have to, like, this is not a surprise that's going to come to me, or if I have some kind of uncertain event, at least I'm covered partially in order to take that, so I can take that financial hit and not be completely devastated by that. That's what I mean when I talk about a financial safety net medium term. You may
And
get your
where are
save.
you saving, where are you saving that money? I think that would be more helpful.
I would save that money in a brokerage account. Some people like CDs. I don't like CDs. I like putting it more in a brokerage account. I have more flexibility about what I'm going to invest my money in, and I can pull that money out at any time. If you're going to put in a brokerage account, I don't suggest you do it if you need that money for less time than a year or two. But if you need it for over a year, okay, put the money in there, let it grow, because now you're getting more interest. Well, you have the potential to grow your money more than it would in a high yield savings account. And at the same time, this is not some money that you definitely need, so you can't risk it. If there's money that you cannot risk and you actually need all of it, put it in a bank account. But if it's money you can risk, but if that risk is worthwhile and you can let it grow in the market, you have a bigger ability, you have a more of an ability to make a higher return on that money in the market. That to me is almost like a supercharged savings account. And that's what I mean by that.
Now, because we're using the term, maybe some people don't know, you're using the term brokerage account and you're saying that it can give you some return in the market. I want to let anyone know who may not be familiar with these terms that we're using. There's a video that we put out called What is a Brokerage Account and Why Do You Need One? I'm going to link that to the end of this so that you know exactly what it is. It's a taxable account that you can invest in, right? And when Nadia says the market, she's talking about the stock market. You can also buy bonds with it as well. But it's a taxable account that you put after tax money in, and you can put as much money as you want into it, and you can take out the money anytime you want. There's a little bit of tax difference when you do that, but that's an account that you can use outside of your retirement accounts.
Yeah, this is completely separate from your employer. It has nothing to do with your employer.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times people feel that, and this is coming from my experience and people that have talked to me, when people feel they need money and they feel they have savings for it, they usually tap into their retirement accounts, like the 401k. Like it's an option that you can get a loan from yourself. And that's something I wish more people would not take advantage of, because you're losing out on the ability to compound the money that you're putting into your retirement accounts, which is supposed to be used for long-term savings. So anytime you touch that money, even if you're going to give yourself a loan and you pay yourself back, once you take that money out, you have taken that money out of the market and it can no longer grow for you. So the brokerage account gives you another option that you can use and save for that doesn't have the penalties attached to it. It doesn't have a lot of restrictions. You can buy anything that you want in there, and it doesn't have a cap on how much you can put in. And it gives you another way to put a financial safety net in place outside of saying, I need to tap into my retirement accounts because I've been diligent putting in there to handle things that are happening at that moment, that life event that's happening. So I wanted to make that clear.
Now, and I will say, I'm speaking to people who are high savers. If you're a high saver, I know this is going to be a change for you in order to move from putting money into your savings accounts and CDs and stuff like that and put it into the stock market, because I know a lot of people are risk averse. But from my own experience, I was a high saver too. And I loved seeing the bank account number go up. But at the end of the day, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're only putting your money into a high yield savings account, because you're not growing it as much as you could if you started looking at other areas to invest your money so you can grow it faster for yourself and actually have your money do more for you than just sitting in a bank account.
Okay, so now let's go into long term.
Okay.
How can someone, I kind of gave the answer a little bit, but what are you going to do to prepare a long term savings for a financial savings net, a financial safety net?
Well, we spoke about it. One, you're going to start funding your retirement accounts, okay? I don't care how young you are, the earlier you start funding your retirement accounts, the better. You don't want to sit up there and wait until you start saying, "Oh, I'm close to retirement," in order to start funding your retirement. That is not creating a safety net for you. You can start all of these short-term, medium-term, and long-term things at the same time. You just put them as different buckets where you're allocating your money, right? Just because you're funding one does not mean you don't have to fund the other. If you do them all at the same time, you'll be in a better position than you would if you just did one by one by one. If you're looking at investing in your retirement accounts, max them out if you can, okay? And especially the ones if your employer gives you a match. That's one of the best things. That's getting free money. So if you're giving yourself a safety net, why not have a partner in it with a job that's going to help you match your contributions?
I mean, another thing I would like to say in terms of account that maybe some people might not have heard of is a health savings account.
Yes.
Because one of the biggest unexpected expenses or one of the life events that can happen to you can be around health, right? Yep. And in America, we can be bankrupt by our health bills, right? The hospital bills. So there's a specific type of account that you can save money for to make a financial safety net for that type of situation. And it's called a health savings account. And you can put money in there. And none of these accounts that Nadia was talking about in terms of retirement accounts and health savings account that you have to put in so much. But it's beneficial to put in as much as you can because one of the tax benefits, but also because you can have a stash at the end of the time. So you want to take advantage of those accounts, and you want to take advantage of as many accounts as you can. And one of them, like I said, is the health savings account. Now, with that, we're talking about financial safety net a lot. I think if anyone is really interested in starting a financial safety net and they want to know exactly where they are and how to get started, we have created a free download for you that we'll have in the description below exactly how to start doing your financial safety net.
Yeah, we're not leaving you guys by yourself with this. You can start planning this out. There's no reason to wait till you actually need the net to start building a net for yourself. I think it's wild work if you're out here using credit cards as your financial safety net. That is not the deal, as what those kids are saying. It's wild work, okay? Diabolical.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Diabolical.
Your shirt is wild work. Nadia is using these terms now. That term is just as wild work as that shirt.
Anyway, never mind my shirt. I hope you guys just get the gist of this video that having a financial safety net is in your best interest. At the end of the day, you are responsible for your own financial security and for your own self, especially if you're an adult. There's a lot of uncertainty that is going around. You got the new administration. I'm not jumping on politics, but you have new administration. You just have life in general. If there's something in your control that you can do, take it within your control and take it to protect yourself. Don't wait until the last minute and something happens or you have some rude life awakening that forces you to do it.
Oh, I like that one. So in general, you want to be someone where your future self will thank you. And preparing, like Nadia said, in times of peace for war is one way that you can definitely be a good friend to yourself. Now, if you really want to be a friend of yourself in 2025, make sure you subscribe to our channel because we're dropping episodes like this on a consistent basis. So if you want to make sure you don't miss one, make sure you tap the notification bell and also be on the lookout to get one of our videos every week. So with that, make sure you check out the links in the description and also check out the next episode coming up.